Welcome to Turkey Run.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Benjamin, the principal of Turkey Run Elementary School. I'm very excited to welcome you and your student to our family. That is exactly what it's like here at Turkey Run. I hope you know that I have the best interest of your kiddo in heart when we make decisions, and am really looking forward to establishing a relationship with you and your student. Just a few reminders. If you would, please be sure to contact Turkey Run Elementary office to set up a time for screening. The number to call is 765-597-2760. Also, when bringing your student in for screening, it would be very helpful if you could bring a copy of their birth certificate and a copy of their social security card in order for us to make copies for their permanent record. If you have any other questions or concerns, do not ever hesitate to reach out. Again, my name is Mrs. Benjamin, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you and your student.
Hi there, I am Audra Long. I am the corporation nurse for North Central Park, and I am wanting to talk to you today about the health requirements for kindergarten students that are coming in. The first thing I want to talk about is immunizations. All students coming into school have to have immunizations up to date, and they need to be up to date by the first day of school. So you have all this summer to get that completed. You will be getting, when you come in for screening, a welcome letter. This has the information that I'm going over today. On the back is the current immunizations that are going to be required for your kindergarten students. We also require that all kindergarten students have a physical completed by their doctor during the summer to show that they are healthy and don't have any health conditions that we need to worry about at school. If you have this filled out whenever you go to the doctor, you'll also get your immunizations at that time. Down on the bottom is also a form for the dentist. North Central Park requires that all kindergartners also have a dentist appointment and be seen by a dentist. So this part needs to be filled out by your dentist, as what this one by your medical provider. You don't have to worry about getting me a copy of the immunizations, because the state has a registry now that I use called CHIRP, that whenever you sign up for school, you give me permission to use CHIRP, and I will look up the immunizations through that. If your doctor sends it, that's fine. I can put it in their chart. The other thing I always recommend for new incoming kindergartners is an eye exam. I will be doing a eye exam on all kindergartners, maybe at screening, maybe at the first of the year. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but it's really hard for a kiddo to learn if they can't see. So I always recommend that if you can, get an eye appointment and have your kiddo check for vision. Medicare, MedWise, Who's Your Health Wise, that will cover your dentist, your physical, and your eye exam. So if you are on state assistance, double check into that, and it would be great if you could get an eye exam for your kiddo. There's a nurse available in our building whenever the kiddos are here. Whenever students are in the building, there's a nurse in the building to cover anything that's needed. Anytime your student does develop anything new in health-wise, any kind of illness, whether it's long-term, short-term, whatever, you can always give my office a call and leave a message any time of day or night, and I will get it the next day I'm in. I do check my messages sometimes, but just plan on it being that next day that we come in. Just keep us up to date. Keep the school up to date on anything going on with your kids. That way, if anything happens, we have that on file. Medications at school. We can have medications at school. The rule is, if they're on it, something that they need to take at school, you can send it in to me, but I cannot send anything home. So if you are sending in, just say they have an antibiotic that's 4 times a day, so they cannot do it at home, it has to have 1 dose at school, you can send in the antibiotic, but I cannot send any of it home. So if you are sending in, only send what I will need at school. It has to be in the original bottle with the prescription on it, and it also has to have a note as to why they're taking it, when they're taking it, and when their last dose was. That way I know what you have given at home and what's needed here at school. It's also a good idea if you're going to send in a medication to call my office and leave me a message. That way the kindergarten teachers have multiple kids and their backpacks may not be checked immediately when they get there at school. And so they might not find that medicine bottle in their backpack until at the end of the day. And so we've missed the dose. So if you just give me a quick call, say, hey, I put medicine in Johnny's backpack, there's a note with it, can you look for it? I'll go that morning and retrieve that to make sure I have it, and also that the teacher knows that they are going to be getting a medication at a certain time. Over-the-counter medicines are allowed. You have to have a doctor's note for any Tylenol, ibuprofen, anything like that now. If you have something that you're going to be giving, so say a cold medicine, I would rather you give those at home. You can always call me, we can always work something out if need be, but don't just send it with them. And don't just send pills in a baggie or something and expect us to know what to do with them. Please, please contact me and let me know what's going on. Make sure you always have your emergency contacts up to date and that are on file. It's always bad, especially if I have a kindergartner that doesn't feel good and I'm a stranger, they don't know me because they don't see me very often. So if they get sick, they're in my office, they're wanting to go home, and if I can't get a hold of anybody, that just makes the situation a little bit worse for them. Just make sure you always have an emergency contacts, have your phone numbers up to date. If you need to change, just a quick call into the office, say, hey, I need to change my phone number, or I need to add this on, or whatever. Just make sure you please keep in contact with us and keep that up to date. If your student does come to the nurse, you will see it's going to be a yellow sheet like this that comes home with the kids. This basically just has their name, whose grade, and what's going on. The teacher fills this part out as to what the student was complaining about. Whenever they're seen by a nurse, it will be filled out down here, what we did, what we thought. And a lot of times it's just a recess injury, maybe complaining that stomach's hurting, temperature was fine, so we gave them a drink and sent them back to class, let them rest a little bit, something like that. But just keep an eye out for these in your backpacks because that will show how many times they're actually coming to the nurse. I don't call for every time that they come into the office. Now, of course, if it's something severe, I want you to monitor that night. If it's something that needs to be addressed immediately, of course, I call you. If it's kind of an unusual thing, I'll call you, or bump on the head or something like that. But a lot of times they come in and out all the time. Just watch for those forms to come home so you'll know exactly how many times your kiddo's been coming in. Good rule of thumb is to always make sure your kiddos are at school. It's very important. Attendance is very important. They don't get the instruction if they're not here. So make sure they are here. The only reasons to keep them home is if they have a fever. They have to be, our fever guideline is 100 degrees. If it's 100 or over, then they need to stay home for 24 hours. They have to be fever-free without any medication. So no Tylenol, no ibuprofen for 24 hours, and then they're good to come back. But if they have a fever, please keep them home. Also, if your kiddo was sick during the night, throwing up, whatever going on, keep them home that day to make sure they're fine, and don't send them back that morning. Don't send them to school that morning after they were sick during the night. Attendance is very important here at school. They get a lot more instruction when they're here instead of trying to make up work. So make sure that the kids are coming to school. They're usually fine if you come in. The fever and the throwing up, we definitely want to keep them home. Anything else going on, but we really encourage that you keep the kids here. My kids knew never to ask to even stay home unless they were pretty much on their deathbed, and they knew that. Food allergies. The last thing I want to cover is food allergies. We have a lot of allergies in our school. It's getting to be more and more common. Everywhere we go, there's so many allergies, and we have some very unusual ones. We have some common ones, but every year is different. So due to that, we do have an allergy policy in the school. At the beginning of the year, I go through all the health histories for all the kids in the school. I compile all the allergies in the school. I will then give the teachers a list of those allergies. And what happens no food can be brought into school to be shared with others that are on this list. So just say peanuts, for example. If I have peanuts on my allergy list, then no food that can come in for parties, for special occasions, for cooking in class, nothing can come in that has peanuts or any derogative of peanuts or that's been processed with the peanuts in the plant can ever come into the school. And that's to keep our kids safe. Now, this does not affect your lunches. If you send your child with a peanut butter sandwich, that's fine because he's not going to share it with anyone else. But if you send in, say, cupcakes that were processed with peanuts, those will not be given out and they will be returned or disposed of because we cannot give them out on the off chance that it would get out of the room and get to the kiddo that has an allergy. Everything must be store-bought that you bring in to share with the class. It has to have the ingredients label and it has to have the allergies listed. So, and you really have to read the ingredients because sometimes what's listed in the ingredients does not go down on the allergy list. That is not a federal mandated list of allergies on there on the packaging. So sometimes what is listed up at the top is not exactly true of what all the allergies are. And just because we have different allergies, we have to read that. So make sure it's store-bought and it has the ingredients list on it. Don't make up treat bags to send into the class unless you have the empty bags that you're going to send in, because we cannot send those home if we don't have the ingredients list. Best thing to do is just send them in the empty bag with the treat bags so that we can double check all the ingredients that are in there. Best thing to do is don't do food. It's a lot easier. Then we'll have no problems. Never send food without contacting your teacher first. That's very, very important. The teachers have to know that the food's coming so that we can prepare and be aware and be ready to check those ingredients. Just because we do have some very severe allergies and kiddos, they don't think when they're young about what they're eating. And just because it might look safe, it could not have something in it that could be very detrimental to some students. So make sure that you do not send food without talking to your teacher first and make pre-arrangements. There's also no eating allowed on the buses, so don't send your kiddo out with breakfast and expect him to eat it on the bus because that's not allowed. We cannot have that food and the oils and stuff on the buses and on the seats. So just some things to think about. If you ever have any questions, you can always call my office. My number is 765-597-2764. And you can always leave me a number and your name and I will get back with you anytime, no problems. If you have some questions or concerns about the immunizations, about maybe your kiddo has some health issues that we need to go over, always call me. I'm always open to talk and we'll work things out. Well, good luck. I know it's a kind of a scary time of the year. I've been there, done this. I understand. So just enjoy it and good luck. Thank you.
Hi folks, I'm Kathy Jones. I'm one of the kindergarten teachers here at Turkey Run Elementary. Today I'm going to run through our kindergarten handbook with you. If you're watching this online, you may not have this in your hand, but you can pick one up when you bring your child in for the screening in a couple of weeks. Okay, we're going to start right on the front page. This is an exciting time for kids when they first come to school. It's an exciting time for families, and we're looking forward to meeting your little child when they come to kindergarten. Inside, we have our kindergarten supply list. You will need a small to medium-sized towel for rest time, and it needs to be able to fit in one of these plastic shoe boxes so that we keep these in here for rest time, and this way it keeps them nice and fresh and sealed in here. Another thing that your child will need will be some kind of a school bag that they can bring back and forth to school to carry their materials in. And then we ask that you also provide some tissues, 1 or 2 boxes of those. At the beginning of school, you may get a list with a few additional things that we need for school. Your child will be able to get lunch and breakfast each day at school. They come in the classroom and they can go get breakfast and they go on down to the lunchroom. They eat that. We have some information here for you which may or may not change before school starts. Right now, they are only allowing children to charge their lunch in case of an emergency. They can charge up to $5, and when they reach that amount, they will be given a peanut butter cracker sandwich with fruit and milk for $1. The children are given a special necklace with their coat on it, and they scan that to pay for their lunch. You can put money in an envelope and send it to school, or it can also be put on through their Harmony account online. You'll get information about that when you come and register your child. If you have questions, the cafeteria's phone number is 597-2766 if you have questions about that. We do have snacks, but right now we have several allergies in the school, and so the teachers are purchasing the snacks. If anything changes about that, we'll let you know next year. When your child has a birthday, we don't have full-blown birthday parties. We'll do a little celebration in the room, but we don't have food brought in for birthdays. One of the things that's really important in our handbook is about the school's rules. If your child is to do something different, go home with a different child, or ride a different bus, or a grandparent or someone is picking your child up, we need to have a note or a phone call about that. And those changes must be made by 2:30 in the afternoon so that everything can be put in order in time to get the bus passes and things out to the bus drivers. If you have any change of address, phone number, custody papers, any of that stuff, we need copies of all of that here at school. In the event, which this is very rare, that we have an early dismissal for like a snowstorm or something, please make sure you have a plan in place for your child to be taken home from school, or that someone is there to meet them when they come home. If you have any different questions or anything, notify the office about those things. Another thing that we want to make sure we touch on a little bit is discipline. Teaching your child what to do is right begins at home. We can certainly do things here at school, but that's something that really begins at home. Your influence, it really counts more with your child than ours. Please encourage your child's school experience. This is exciting for them. This is a new experience, and good attitudes from parents and enthusiasm and interest from them makes such a big difference in how your child responds to school. Please help your child know that the teacher is in charge. We kind of take the place of a parent when they're here at school. Help them to learn how to respect adults and what to do is right. This will just make their experience so much better. Read to your child. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact us. We'd love to work with you to help the child be the most successful they can be. Your interest and support at home are vital to your child's success and appreciated by the school. We encourage you to work with your child on getting along with others. They need to know to keep their hands and feet to themselves. That's not how we solve difficulties here at school. Use your words. Learn how to share and take turns. If they have trouble, make sure they know how to ask for help. Encourage them to ask the teacher if they're having problems. They need to be able to follow the directions and the rules. They need to use good manners. They need to ask properly how to go to the restroom, how to get something that they need. And we also would like to encourage you not to let them whine and argue with you. When they get here to school, there's too many kids for us to listen to whining and arguing, so we encourage you to nip that in the bud if you can. Our school is a Leader in Me school, which means we follow the 7 habits from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Your child will learn the habits, and these are habits that all of us need to know. These habits are listed in the book. If you don't know them, you could also look them up online. Our school nurse will be talking to you on this video also to give you information about vaccines and what needs to happen before your child comes to school. If your child is injured at school, falls off the slide or something at school, you will be notified, and so please make sure your phone numbers are up to date and that you're accessible during the school day, or someone is who could answer that call. A lot of times parents want to know what should their child know before they come to school. It's not so much of the academic stuff as it is just common sense things. They need to be able to completely dress themselves. If they have jeans, they need to know how to fasten those jeans. They need to know how to zip their coat. They need to know how to fasten a belt if you're going to send them to school in a belt. They need to be able to take care of their restroom needs independently. We don't help with that. They have to do that themselves. They need to know how to wash their hands and keep themselves clean. We will be expecting them to put their toys away when they're done playing with them, so knowing how to put toys away is important. They need to be able to follow a simple direction or two, doing what we're asked to do. They need to know how to write their name using upper and lowercase letters. A lot of kids are taught to write their names with all capital letters, and that's a very hard habit to break, so we would appreciate it if you would teach them to write it with a capital and then the lowercase. There's a paper on the back of our notebook to show you exactly how we do our letters here at school. If they can learn to say the alphabet, that's a great thing. Counting to 10 or 20 or even higher is helpful. Be able to tell us their first and last name. It's also important, not so much for school, but for your child's life, to be able to know their parents' phone number, their address, your name, and then we also will need them to know their birthday and how old they are. If they don't know that, they'll be working on that. They also, if they ride the bus, need to know their bus number and who their bus driver is. Different teachers will be talking to you about school readiness and the Young Fives program. The kindergarten screenings, Mrs. Shannon will explain those to you later in this video. How can you help your child succeed? Give a consistent bedtime. Be consistent and stick to it. They need to be in bed by 8 or 8:30 to be their best at school the next day. This is tiresome for little people. It's a long day and it's just a lot, so make sure they're getting plenty of rest. Don't be afraid to tell your child no. There are times in school when they're not going to be able to do everything they want to do, or they're going to hear the word no. And so if they've heard that at home, it makes it so much easier than if the first time they hear it is when they come here. Play games together, read together. That's one of the most important things, is to read to your child. They get an understanding of books and how books work, and they learn to love reading, and that's what we want. We want them to love reading. Another thing is, please don't do everything for your child. Give them an opportunity even to fail sometimes. Then when they get to school, they won't be afraid to try new things. They won't think they can't do anything. Encourage your child to be a hard worker. Working hard often is more important than how smart they are, because they know to stick to it. How to make good choices, to think things through, and also how to deal with difficulties. Help them learn how to talk through things and not just resort to crying or hitting for those things. Your child's coats and hats and things, if you can, should be marked with their name. So if there's any things that are misplaced, any toys or things that are brought to school need to have the child's name on them. That will eliminate any conflict or anything where we don't know whose belongings they are. On the last part of our book, we have shown you how we do our handwriting here. Turkey Run Elementary uses the Danielian style handwriting. It's just a little bit different than what you may have learned. We put curly doodles, I call them curly doodles, on little tails on the ends of some of the letters. The letter Y is made differently than a lot of forms of printing. The letter lowercase k is a little bit different. And so if you work with your child between now and the beginning of school, we'd appreciate it if you'd use this style of writing. That'll make it that much easier for them when they come to school. Sure look forward to seeing your child when they come, and we wish you all the best in your new school year. Thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Megan Bridge, and I'm the Young Fives teacher here at Turkey Run. I know it's common to think, my kid just turned 5, it's time to start kindergarten. However, there's so much more than age that determines kindergarten readiness. So kindergarten readiness is a combination of many different skills. Some of them are academic skills that you achieve through practice and repetition, like counting or naming letters and identifying shapes. And some of them are developmental skills that just come with time. The second part is called developmental readiness. Developmental readiness recognizes that kids aren't all growing at the same pace. Some kids are ready for kindergarten as soon as they turn 5. Others need a little extra time. It's very similar to the fact that some babies are crawling at 6 months, others not until 10 months, and some skip crawling altogether. Kids are 5 and 6 when they start kindergarten. On the screen, you'll see what a typical 5-year-old should be able to do. Your child could be anywhere on this list. Kids develop skills at different rates and might be strong in some areas and weak in others. For language development, some things to keep in mind. Is your child easy to understand? Do they speak in complete sentences? Do they understand turn taking and listening when having a conversation? Are they able to follow multiple steps and directions? For example, if you ask them to hang up their coat, put their shoes away, and come to the dinner table, would they be able to do all of those 3 things in order? For social emotional, how does your child act when you say no? What do they do when they have to transition from one activity to another, especially one that they really enjoy? For instance, when it's time to leave the park, do they say okay, or do they get upset and refuse to leave? Is your child interested in listening to stories? Can they sit still for an entire story? Does your child get along well with others, especially other children? How do they do at taking turns? Waiting for something they want? Is your child able to solve conflicts with other children or ask an adult for help? Is your child able to separate from you without becoming upset? And how would they act in new situations or environments? Fine and gross motor skills. Can your child catch a ball that is thrown or bounce to them? Most 5-year-olds have a hand preference for writing, coloring, and using eating utensils. Is your child able to use scissors? Balance on 1 foot? Hop on 2 feet? Can they skip? These are all things that a typical 5-year-old would be able to do. Kids who have trouble with these things might have a tough time in a kindergarten setting. You have to have strong gross motor skills in order to develop fine motor skills. And you need to be able to use your pencil confidently in order to complete classroom activities. It's important to remember that some kids are already 6 starting kindergarten, and some of them will be turning 7 pretty early on in the semester. Some of your kids are still 4 years old right now. As you just heard, there's a lot of growth that happens between 4 and 6-year-olds. Because of this, Turkey Run started the Young Fives program over 30 years ago. Kids in Young Fives are old enough to be enrolled in kindergarten, but scored below age 5 on the Gazelle Developmental Assessment, which you'll hear more about from Mrs. Shannon. Young Fives is a win-win-win for students, parents, and schools. Children will be better prepared to succeed. Parents will have an additional option to ensure that their kids are going to excel in kindergarten and have the maturity, confidence, and skills needed. Our school is going to benefit because children are better prepared to succeed academically.
Hi everyone, my name's Brittany Shannon. I taught Young Fives for 3 years and now have been in kindergarten for about 9 years. I'm going to share a little bit of information about the screenings that we use to determine placement in either the Young Fives program or the traditional kindergarten program. Page 12 in the handbook has some information also. We want children to thrive, not just survive when they come to school. Because of this, we offer a Young Fives program. This program has been in place for over 30 years, and we've seen really great success in that time. As Mrs. Bridge talked about, each child develops skills at different times. The teachers who started this program saw that and knew that it would be beneficial for some students to have an extra year to help with their physical, emotional, social, and intellectual development. When starting the program, some of the teachers at that time were trained in administering the Gazelle developmental screening. Over the years, new teachers and staff have been trained to give the screening as well. This test does not in any way test your child's intelligence, your parenting, or what preschool your child went to or didn't go to. In the screening, different teachers will give them tasks to do. After your child has completed these tasks, their performance will be scored based on national norms, meaning looking at what typical 4 to 6-year-olds can do. We will score what your child did compared to other children their age. We will calculate and graph their scores. If a child has scores mainly in the 4 to 4.5 year column, that indicates to us that the child could most likely benefit from some extra time to grow and mature before entering the traditional kindergarten classroom. If students score mainly in the 5 column, we typically feel that they would be comfortable in the traditional kindergarten classroom. When you bring your child for their screening, someone will greet you at the door and escort your child to the screening room. During the screenings, we will have a short video for you to watch that will explain the Young Fives and traditional kindergarten curriculums, how they differ, and what you can expect when your child enters either program. Please plan to stay for around an hour. There may also be some paper packets for you to fill out. If you could also bring a copy of their birth certificate and social security card for us to keep on record, that would be great. We can make copies here if needed. This year's screenings will take place on April 8th and 9th from 8 to 12. Please call the office as soon as possible to set up a screening appointment at 597-2760. We look forward to meeting your kiddo and working with you next school year. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Mindy Early, one of the teachers here at Turkey Run Elementary in the Title I room, and I'm also the Promise Indiana Park County liaison here for our elementary as well. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what the College Savings 529 plan was and how you could get your child registered. So planning for your child's future is so important, and you can start now. The College Choice 529 Direct Savings Plans has tax and interest benefits that you can go ahead and use even though your child's only 5. Money can be used for several types of degrees across the United States, and it doesn't have to be used for a 4-year degree in Indiana as some may think. Just for signing your child up with an account through the Park County Foundation and Promise Indiana Park County, your child will receive $25 deposited into their account. Throughout the year, they will learn about careers in the classroom as well as college. They'll be able to explore through a field trip called Walk into the Future, and we'll ask champions around the community, such as neighbors and other relatives, to deposit $25 for an eligible match. After that match is made, the Community Foundation will also put an additional $75 in your child's 529 plan. You can register online, or you can turn in registration forms with your other kindergarten documents in April. There is an incentive in March that your child is eligible for. If you sign up online in March, you will be entered for a chance to win a $250 deposit into your child's account. Something else that's pretty neat about this is you can set up a U-Gift code after you register so that family, friends, and other relatives can deposit money directly into your child's 529 plan. If you have any questions or you need more information, contact information can be found in your packets, as well as on the Park County Community Foundation Promise Indiana Park County website, as well as Facebook pages. I can also be contacted by calling the Turkey Run Elementary office and asking for Mindy Early, and I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Hello to all the families of upcoming kindergartners. My name is Miss G, and I am the school counselor at Turkey Run Elementary. I'm so excited that you're going to be joining our school family next year. And just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and to give you a couple tips on getting your kiddos ready to come to school full time. So the biggest and best thing that you can do for your kiddos is to establish a routine with them. And that's a bedtime routine and a morning routine. Start doing this now and practice it throughout the summer so that it is well known to your kids when school starts, and it helps them feel secure and confident in coming to school. The other thing that's just really important is that you keep an open dialogue between your kiddo and you so they can tell you when they're feeling anxious or scared about something as they prepare to come to school. I promise when they get here they'll have lots of fun and it won't be as scary, but leading up to that time, kids do sometimes have a lot of thoughts about what school might be like. I'm so excited to have all of you joining our family, and I can't wait to see you next year on the first day of school.